Welcome back. Week 7.
Week 8.
Week 8 of CFB.
8 of college football. Week 7 of the podcast.
It's
Or
still
week 8 of the
still
podcast?
week 8.
Okay, week 8 of the podcast. Scott Sandulli has joined us because Caleb Camper was taking a mental day like I did a couple of weeks ago.
There you go.
Completely acceptable. Welcome back. A lot happened last week, especially some things I can't wait to talk about. So let's get right into it.
So I think. Well, I know Cooper at the end of Saturday sent a text saying that it was one of the best college football days in recent memory, and I don't think anybody would really disagree with that. We had a lot going on. We had, of course, Tennessee and Bama comes to mind, but you had other great games. You had I hate to bring them up this early, but you had the TCU game go to double overtime, right?
Yeah,
double overtime. You had
very unfortunate.
wow, why am I blanking? You had another overtime game in the Big Ten, Michigan State, Wisconsin.
Texas, Iowa State.
Yeah, Texas, Iowa State, which was a
USC,
very good
Utah.
game. USC, Utah was a great game.
Was good.
So-
Kentucky, Mississippi State, USC, Utah. There's a lot of games.
A lot of great games. I think every besides one, I think all of the big games we had going into the weekend delivered. The only one that didn't, Michigan. Michigan destroyed Penn State.
Go blue.
But other than that, every other game really delivered. And I'm sure for Scott that Michigan game delivered. If you're a Michigan fan, but if you want a good game, that was not a good game. So, Evan, well, let's start with you. What really stood out to you last week?
Washington.
Did Washington lose?
No, they didn't. But Michael Penix had the most passing yards in school record in history. So
There's another thing about last
516. Yeah, Michael Penix.
Who did they play?
But they played Arizona. They won.
Oh, that's right.
It was like they won by 10. It was like 50 to something.
50. So if they won by 10, if they scored
It was
50,
like 59
how
to
many
49.
points did they
It
give
was
up?
like 59 to 49, something like that.
Okay.
But other than that, I want to talk about the USC-Utah game a little bit. This was kind of expected by a lot of people that Utah was going to pull off the upset. And, I mean, USC, their offense played well. Their defense just could not stop USC's run game with him and Cameron Rising and company. And when Utah got that 2-point conversion at the end of the game and they kicked off, USC had a chance to win the game. They actually ran it back to the midfield 50-yard line. Then they got called back for a holding call. So that wasn't good. And then they really were undisciplined on that last drive. There were like 2 more holding calls that really backed them up that kind of screwed them over. But yeah, it was a tough break for USC there, and Utah played really well.
I mean, can we talk about the fact that they had the balls to go for 2?
I loved it. That was an awesome game. That was a great call.
I mean, it's the kind of call. If they don't get it, then everybody's pissed.
No, of
at.
course. Everyone's wanting Whittingham's head in Salt Lake City.
Exactly.
I would have called the same thing. I would have called for 2.
I would have kicked the extra point.
You play to win the game.
You
Play to win
That's
the game.
a sore subject.
I think I would have kicked.
Yeah.
Just because college overtime is one where you feel comfortable knowing you're gonna have a chance. Where NFL that situation I go for 2 because I don't want to risk overtime. But in college with the format, I would kick. But
smart play call, though.
I respect the call.
It's a good play call too.
Yeah.
They ran that little tight end shuffle play, which was good.
So, Mr. Scott, our guest, what stood out to you in college football last Saturday?
There's a lot. I think Michigan shut a lot of people up. With
that was impressive.
They played a weak schedule. They had those teams they played that had been formidable, like Indiana and Maryland, gave them games. And so when a top 10 team comes into their house, they do exactly what they did. And the first half wasn't pretty. They gave Penn State a lot of chances. The offense wasn't really clicking, but in the second half, they really just dominated. And
awesome.
That proved to me that Michigan is for sure at least the top 6 or 7 team in the country. It's them and Ohio State for the Big Ten. But I actually picked the Utah upset, and because that is just such a tough place to play. Utah's got such a great defense, and every year they always lose, 2 games early on in the season and then come roaring back. Kyle Whittingham finishes the season great, and this feels like the turning point for them. A little bit's got to go right for them to make the Pac-12 championship game, but it was definitely an awesome performance, and it shows to me. I think my biggest takeaway, I knew Tennessee was legit, so that's not my biggest takeaway of the week. My biggest takeaway of the week is that USC is still not. I don't know if they're there yet because their defense, we saw it. Ain't
it's
it?
not good.
It ain't it. I mean, you can have all the offense you want, and I think Caleb Williams, Travis Dye, and Jordan Addison is the best quarterback, running back, wide receiver trio in the country. But if you can't stop your opponents, it's going to be a long rest of the season. And the only team I could really see them losing to for the Pac-12 championship game would be UCLA. But as of right now, I mean, USC, they feel like the Oklahoma teams of the past, which is fitting for Lincoln Riley. It's a team that has a ton of offensive firepower, a lot of star power, but when it comes down to the defense and getting physical, they're not about that.
And that's why they lose. Sorry, I had to get that in there.
Big Oklahoma guy.
No, not you guys. State of Oklahoma guy, sure, but for me it was in the Fun Belt. The good old Fun Belt.
Yeah.
James Madison taking the loss.
I picked that.
To Kyle Van Treese and his almost 600 yards of passing. I mean, I didn't expect that at all. I know it was on the road, it wasn't at home, but Georgia Southern proved that they can hang with the upper representatives of that Sun Belt Conference, and they really put a lot of people on notice. And so did Old Dominion. They played Coastal Carolina, who was another unbeaten team in the Sun Belt, and blew the brakes off them.
I was surprised by that.
I was too. Yeah, that was.
I'm a big fan of Grayson McCall and Jamie Chadwell. I was surprised.
Yeah, that was a big loss for Coastal, and I think that some of the middle of the pack teams in the Sun Belt are giving it to some of these undefeateds or these upper class teams in the conference. So it's fun to see the Fun Belt in action.
Big Fun Belt guy.
Big
huh?
Fun Belt guy.
Well, obviously, game of the week, Tennessee, Alabama, did not disappoint. It was fantastic.
Game of the year, man. Come on.
No, not game of the year. Not game of the year.
What's game of the year?
That's coming up in a couple weeks. We'll get to it.
Oklahoma State.
No. Yeah, your game of the week was last week and didn't go so well for you guys, did it? So, obviously Tennessee, Alabama, just like the firepower, the explosion. Reminded me of was it USF, UCF,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about,
2017. I don't know, whatever it was, but great game. Jalen Hyatt was on fire, 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's electric.
I can't believe Tennessee still won that game without Cedric Tillman.
Yeah.
Top wide receiver. I was completely shocked.
And
to
their
see
top
that.
corner as well.
Yeah, I mean, that explains the offensive shootout. But I think the thing with Alabama is they've walked a tightrope this year, and they came down the wire with Texas. I think if Quinn Ewers doesn't get hurt, that Texas wins that game.
Mm-hmm.
They played a very close game with Texas A&M for no particular reason on their own field too. But the Texas A&M team that really is all that good.
Bryce Young didn't play that game.
I know, but still. But Bryce Young is a generational talent at quarterback. I think he's the best. He is the best quarterback in the country right now. And other than Jahmyr Gibbs, he doesn't have any help. That's my
Well, their
thought.
receivers aren't very good.
It's not. The receivers aren't usual Alabama standards.
Well, nobody down the field has burning speed that can just take a corner and a safety.
There's no
with them.
Jameson Williams.
Yeah, there's no
anymore.
downfield
There's
threat.
no Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, and we've seen. It's not the offense. It's been really the problem. It's just their defense is very undisciplined. They took 17 penalties against Tennessee, which is unbelievable
They're
for
the
a Nick
most
Saban
penalized
team.
team in the country.
Most
unbelievable.
I'm happy that the referees are actually starting to call the games because it's ridiculous because they used to just not call the penalties. I mean, it's ridiculous how many times you play Alabama and they just get bailed out.
Are you saying that because you're a Georgia fan?
No, you watch the games and look what happened. It's like Tom Brady, bro.
Hey,
unbelievable.
watch it.
No, I'm saying, what happened the other week? Roughing the passer on a soft tackle.
I love that.
You're
I love
this
it.
close.
Let's go.
I don't care. It's
28-3.
true.
Shut
That's
up.
fine. That's fine.
Whoa,
That's
whoa,
fine.
whoa.
That's fine. That's
Whoa,
fine.
we got
Hey, what about the Orange Bowl last year? It didn't go so well for you guys, did it?
Fair enough.
No.
Fair enough.
Wow, things are getting
No. It didn't go
Hey,
well.
now, come on, man.
But you know what? Alabama, Tennessee, great game. I told everybody at the beginning of the year Tennessee was going to be good, and
You
not,
did.
I knew
not many-
Tennessee was going to be good, coming into the game, they're both undefeated. I have a lot. It was kind of like how I thought about the Michigan-Ohio State game. It was like last year. It was like if Michigan was going to beat Ohio State, if not here, where? If not now, when? Because Tennessee hadn't beaten Alabama in 15 years.
17.
17. And so them pulling this off now, like, this is the best Tennessee team we've seen probably in our lifetimes.
Yeah.
And Hendon Hooker, in my opinion, is the Heisman frontrunner right now, right with C.J. Stroud.
Tennessee.
And the team, like, that was just an incredible game by the Volunteers. They led that game for a little while. Early on, they jumped out to like a 2-score lead, but Alabama gets back in it. And those are the kind of games that Alabama wins. Like, we've seen them fall behind and come back and win. Unbelievable fight by Tennessee, unbelievable heart. Josh Heupel's a phenomenal coach, and I truly hope Tennessee and Georgia are undefeated when they meet in a couple weeks.
So do I.
And we talked about or beginning first episode we were like who's a player or team you're excited to watch,
Coop
and
said Tennessee.
Coop said Tennessee and Hendon Hooker,
Yeah.
and so we'll give Coop the nod there.
Props. Army.
Props
I even
to
told
Coop.
my dad. He's like, I don't really see Georgia's schedule being that hard. I'm like, dude, Tennessee's gonna be good. And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, well, here we go.
And
Milk
they
and
are
cookies to
very-
Alabama.
Milk and cookies.
I see them losing another game this year.
You do?
Yes.
Too.
Ole Miss.
I don't know. Man, I was thinking
The
about
game
Ole
this
Miss,
week?
honestly.
I don't
It's
know.
gonna be a tough
I don't
game.
know how
It's
good
at
Ole Miss really is.
It's
Yeah.
at
I know, but the thing is, before the season, I was eyeing Ole Miss. With the way their schedule looked, they could start 7-0, 8-0, and that's what they are right now. But they got a tough game with LSU on the road
Yep.
this week.
Is it a night game?
No.
And then on the road against Texas
2:30.
A&M the week after. Then they get their bye. They get Alabama at home, but then they go to Arkansas. So I think Ole Miss is going to at least have 2 losses in the next 4 games. To who, I'm not sure, but Ole Miss is the last hope, I think, for anyone to beat Alabama in the regular season, I would say.
Yeah.
When was the last time there was a non-Alabama SEC West team in the SEC?
Auburn
championship?
2017.
LSU.
Oh, LSU 2019. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
There
you're
you
right.
go.
Yep. Oh, against Georgia, of course. And that didn't go very well.
Hey, it didn't go very well for a lot of teams that played that
That's right.
team, so
There you go.
That team was
that was
that team
one of
was
the
crazy.
greatest teams
Yeah,
ever.
that team was crazy.
For sure.
So
LSU, but the team that they've got now, I mean, Jaden Daniels seems to have rounded into form. He had a great game last week to beat Florida. They got a lot of talent on that team. I think they can beat Ole Miss, but
It'll be tough.
and they have the home field. I'm pretty sure they're favored too.
They are.
LSU's favored by 2.5.
That is going to be a very
That's
intriguing
crazy.
game because an LSU win would get them back in the rankings. An Ole Miss win that would certify to me that Ole Miss is legitimate. I think because it's so hard to win at LSU. I mean, Tennessee made it look easy this year, but LSU, in my opinion, is one of the toughest home crowds that you got to go into.
it is, but like Coop said
It's a
a
day
couple
game.
weeks ago, it's like a completely different environment when it's a night game
Yeah,
compared
100%.
to
Way
the day.
different.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see.
They'll show up, but it's
Right.
it's different night.
Yeah, it's
Well, the Tennessee game was a day game. Tennessee beat the brakes off them.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But so moving on, because we have Scott here, and Scott's a Michigan guy. We've gotten some negative feedback on our social media accounts
We
for,
have.
for some
Look at Cooper.
Michigan
Respect the
Michigan
Wolverines,
commentary.
baby.
So let's talk about Michigan for a second. I know Scott brought them up briefly, but they dominated Penn State. And even just looking at the score, if you go by quarter, doesn't do it justice because that first half looks close. I think Michigan was only up by like 2 or 3.
The score does not do it justice at all.
Correct. That first half,
That was Michigan trying to lose the game.
right?
That was
Michigan
Penn State
had
winning it.
19 first downs compared to Penn State's 1. Penn State had no business being close at that point, and then obviously
Didn't they lead at one point?
they did. They were leading
I believe
because
it
of
was 14-13
yeah,
right
something
before
like
that.
Well, there you go.
right because of it was 16-14.
They had a-
Michigan got a field goal going right
Congrats.
before
Yeah,
half,
defensive
yeah.
touchdown, right?
Correct. They had a pick 6 and
Congrats to
yeah.
all involved.
Off of last year, I expected Michigan to take a bit of a step back. I thought it'd be like a 9-3 kind of year. They'd still be good, but I mean, I'm very surprised by how great they've looked. It took a little bit to get rid of the growing pains on offense with Cade McNamara and JJ McCarthy fighting for the QB spot. But JJ McCarthy's a beast. He's a dual threat. He's unbelievable. Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards is the best running back room in the country because of the best offensive line in the country. The defense, it's hard to get better after losing Aiden Hutchinson, David Ajabo, and Daxton Hill, but they play so much faster. It's not that they play more physical, they just play faster. I don't want to say they beat up on teams, they're just quicker to the ball, just a step ahead of almost everyone they're playing. I know outside of Penn State it hasn't been much, but with the way that this Michigan team has looked, the way Ohio State's looked, I think we're going to go into the game 11-0 versus 11-0 come Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think kind of that's always been the speculation for this year. That's going to come down to that. So earlier, what we got, I mean, Cooper got a lot of negative comments about you, but
yeah, some we can't share.
Right, and
It's on file, bro.
yeah. What we were saying was that Michigan had set themselves up kind of for, in terms of, because Michigan's the type of program where their goal every year is or at least should be a Big Ten title and a playoff appearance or a national title.
That, yes.
Right. Especially coming off of a playoff appearance with a very talented roster, a favorable schedule. What we were saying, they've set themselves up this year for that Ohio State game will literally be everything, and it always is the biggest game, and a lot of times recently it has been for a Big Ten title appearance. But where, even as a Michigan fan, do you really see them with a chance of getting in if they lose the Ohio State game? Because just due to without, obviously there's can be situations where if teams above them lose and there's a lot of chaos, but if there's without relying on like a lot of chaos and a miracle, is there really a chance of them getting in if they lose the Ohio State game?
If Michigan loses Ohio State and Ohio State goes to the Big Ten championship and wins it, they will be in the playoff. SEC champion with one loss or less will be in the playoff. Clemson stays undefeated and wins the ACC, they will be in the playoff. So then that'll put Michigan up against, let's say Georgia wins the SEC undefeated.
That didn't happen. We can't win in Atlanta.
Georgia won. That would put Georgia or Ohio State at 1 and 2. I'm not sure how that order would go. And Clemson at 3. So 4 is now left open. Assuming Alabama wins the SEC West, they're going to take a second loss to Georgia and Atlanta off of my scenario. So that knocks Alabama out. But Tennessee at 11 and 1, assuming their only loss to Georgia. Michigan at 11 and 1. A Pac-12 champion like USC, UCLA, or Oregon at 12 and 1 with a conference championship in tow. It would be quite the decision, but I mean, nothing's better than guaranteeing yourself a spot. I think the Ohio State game is a must-win for Michigan to get in the playoff because of how weak their strength of schedule is. Before they got to the Big Ten play, they played UConn. I mean, I love my Huskies, but still, that's bad. Like, Michigan does not have a non-conference that Tennessee had with Pittsburgh. At USC, we'll have a Notre Dame later on in the year. At Oregon, we'll have Georgia. Michigan's resume will look the worst, but the eye test, they could look the best.
I think Michigan could end the year without a win over a team that would be currently ranked come playoff decision day. Because Penn State's going to lose to Ohio State. Which, if they don't, that would be absurd.
Probably will.
They will, and I think they'll get destroyed.
It's at Penn State, but this Ohio State team is just
It's not their whiteout game,
and I think Penn State can lose another game. I think Penn State has a decent chance of losing this week to Minnesota.
It's
I don't know. I think Minnesota.
Oh, right. Okay.
Minnesota kind of got the wind taken out of their sails. Mo Ibrahim going down.
But he's back now.
I know, but they lost to them last week.
It's the whiteout game. They're not losing.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't think Minnesota can go into Happy Valley and beat Penn State.
Either way, I think there's a decent chance that when it's decision time that Michigan doesn't have a win against a team that would be currently
I think it'd be
ranked.
tough. I think the only reason I could say it, like if they're fighting between Tennessee and Michigan, like if Georgia was the 1 seed, they could go with Michigan just because they don't want to see Georgia-Tennessee again.
Right, and they went.
But the thing is, if Tennessee loses by like a field goal or a touchdown to Georgia, they have to be in.
Yeah.
If that's their only loss, they have to be in.
I think who gets screwed here the most is Oregon because they're not gonna want to put Oregon back in to play at Georgia that they already got demolished by.
Well, I mean,
I know,
some
but
of the leagues have
there's a
to
big
play
difference
overtime.
between week 1 and week 15.
Correct. Yeah, I understand that, but you got to think
It's gonna be
The
literally the same
committee-
scenario, same building, same team.
it's gonna be
I think we're better now than we were in week 1.
right.
So
I-
was Oregon, yeah.
Oregon's too, but
And whenever you see a team twice in a college football season, the second game is always way more competitive. Look at the SEC championship last year with Georgia and Bama.
That's
Yeah, that was
different.
not-
What happened in that?
That's different than Georgia, Oregon.
I'm
different.
trying to give away the context.
No, I know.
yeah,
I understand.
I just wanted because we've been called
Contextos.
we've been called various things for.
It's on me, bro. You guys.
Yeah, no,
I
we didn't
took
get
the
called
brunt,
anything.
bro.
I kind of
It's
want
on
to
me.
get called something by the
You
Michigan
tried
State.
to.
I'm
in the
trying.
second
I'm
week.
trying every week. Michigan sucks. There, put that on a thing. Put it on Instagram. See what you got, Michigan fans.
Post
Bring it
your
on.
Hey, man.
post your worst comments down below.
Post them all
Right.
right down below. Hey, best comment gets a follow.
Okay.
Best
There you
comment
go.
gets
Hey,
a
you want to
follow.
follow this, man?
Best comment gets a follow. How about that?
There you
Put-
go. You have to post it now.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
All right. Speaking of
while
BP,
while BP's on a rant, do you want to talk about the Big 12?
He's cooking.
Yeah, we'll talk about Big 12 a little bit. The OSU TCU game.
electric.
Well, it was electric. We'll start with the fact that OK State could do nothing in the second half offensively. After they scored 24, they were a field goal team, which it's happened to them in the past where they started off hot and then they get into this field goal battle. Previously, they've had Jim Knowles' defense to bail them out, and it
he's
didn't
doing
bail
that-
them out this
He's
time.
doing that work in Columbus now.
Yeah, so that didn't turn out so well. The OU game, congrats to you all for beating Jason Bean by 10. Congratulations. I don't know what more you want from me, to be honest with you.
Post your comments down below.
Post them all down below. I love fan support.
Best comment
Texas.
to follow.
Texas,
that
it's
was-
going to look like they struggled a little
Yeah.
bit, but Preco and I were talking about this. I was talking to Preco about it. Iowa State has a pretty solid defense. It's one of the better
Oh, yeah.
defenses in the Big
They
12.
have a
I think
very
it's
good
one of the
defense.
best defenses in
In
the
the-
country.
yeah.
To be
Yeah,
honest.
it's
Yeah, it's
for
like
sure.
top
If you
25.
if you can hold Quinn Ewers, Bijan Robinson,
24
Xavier Worthy to
points,
24
yeah.
points,
That's
it's
pretty impressive. Yeah,
I
exactly.
held them to 0.
I mean, Iowa State's offense kind of counterbalances their great defense a little bit. But did you see LA play this week?
No, they had a bye.
They had a bye.
They're heading to
Austin.
That's
We couldn't get any more posts from our boy the long snapper there. Dang it! I hope you're still out there listening. But yeah, that was pretty much all of note from the Big 12 for this week. I mean, all the big games, unless I missed one. Did I? I don't think I missed
I
one.
don't think so.
All right.
One of my favorite teams, Kansas State, didn't play. So
You missed Baylor, West Virginia.
Oh yeah, that was.
Oh, no, that was
That was a
actually
great
Thursday.
game.
that was Thursday night.
Yeah,
Thursday
That was a
night game.
scary good game.
Yeah, that
honestly.
was the actual Thursday night football game, not the Russell Wilson.
Blake Shapen got injured in that game in the
Yeah.
late third quarter, but
The backup was not good.
the backup struggled a little bit, which
A little bit.
most.
He missed the tight end wide open in the end zone.
Well, Russell Wilson's done that all season long. Okay, don't say a lot of.
Hey, let him cook.
Yeah, let him cook his.
Let him cook his hot dogs and cereal.
Oh, that's disgusting.
He's cooking a pineapple pizza right now.
But JT Daniels played a great game, and
Yeah,
West
that's
Virginia
shocker.
pulled it out at
About
home.
time.
Yeah, about time is
Time,
right.
right.
But yeah, that was about all from Big 12 this week. OU fans, congrats, you're about 500. I don't think
Is
so.
Jalen Daniels back or Jalen Daniels?
July.
Yeah.
I read it's like 4 to 6 weeks.
Oh, he's done. Okay.
Yeah, he's probably
He's milking cookies.
Yeah.
Check the closet.
Baylor's
Mom.
favored by I think double digits this
yeah,
upcoming
Baylor,
year.
Baylor's
9.5.
which makes sense, I guess, if he's not going to play.
There you go. All right.
We always love BP's Big 12 update. So switching to out west. I know I haven't talked about
Pacific 12.
I haven't talked about the Utah USC game, and we've touched on who is the best team in the Pac-12.
Oregano.
You think so?
Yeah. I think
Oregano?
Oregon's the best team in the Pac-12 right now.
I
They're
think
playing hot.
I'm gonna go with Utah. If I'm being honest,
Really?
I know they've lost twice.
I think it's
But
either or.
They have a very their defense is great with Clark Phillips and Cole Bishop in the secondary. Cameron Rising, he has the potential in him to be very good. They just got, Florida week 1, it's week 1. You kind of got to take it with a grain of salt. But UCLA was also on the road. UCLA was scorching hot at the time. DTR and Zach Charbonnet are lighting up the country right now. That's a tough offense to stop, especially when you're not at home. I think that Utah, I don't know if they'll win the Pac-12 championship, but I think if you made like a 4-team Pac-12 playoff of Utah, Oregon, USC, and UCLA, I think Utah comes out of that. Just they're coached so well, they play so disciplined, they stick to their systems, and all the other teams kind of have flaws. Oregon, Bo Nix has an interception problem still, even with how well they've been playing. UCLA and USC, their defenses are not too hot. I think Utah is the most complete team in the Pac-12. I don't want to say best. I think most complete from top to bottom.
Well, if you have an interception problem, you just gotta rely on your defense, and that's what Oregon has.
Justin Flo and Noah Sewell, in my opinion, are the best linebacker duo in the country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Best team in the Pac-12 down there?
Yeah, it's a toss-up between Utah and Oregon, I think, because...
What about our friend from UCLA?
Oh, sorry.
He's gonna be disappointed to hear that.
Post it on Instagram again. Get 30 likes or 30 views or whatever. I don't care. But yeah, I'd say Oregon, like you guys alluded to. I won't beat a dead horse like the Seahawks did in that one Super Bowl. But anyway, I think they have a great defense. They have a pretty solid defense. Yeah, my bad. I forgot you were a Seahawks fan. But yeah, Oregon, and then you saw Utah. Dalton Kincaid had a fantastic game, over 200 yards. As a tight end, too, which shows that offense is good from top to bottom.
Dude, talk about next man up.
Yeah, for real.
Keefe getting hurt like that, he was the best main part of their offense right there with Tavion Thomas. He's out for the season. Dalton Kincaid stepping up like that.
That's
unbelievable.
Big time moment in a big time game. That's what that's the effect a coach like Kyle Whittingham will have on a program like that. And I think that Utah and Oregon are in a little juggernaut battle for the top of the Pacific 12.
I think USC is still the best team in the Pac-12. I know they just lost to Utah, but I think if that's played on a neutral site, I think USC would win. So I think USC is still the better team. I think Caleb Williams is arguably the best player in the country. Their defense has issues, but like we said, I think every Pac-12 team has some issues. I think it's a little funny that we none of us, I don't think any of us think UCLA is the best team in the conference. Yeah. Yet they're the undefeated ones.
Well, yeah, and that's the ironic part. I think that undefeated is going to last no longer, but we'll get to that with Pick'em. But UCLA is just, I feel like they've just ridden such a hot streak. DTR is electric. He's an amazing quarterback. Zach Charbonnet is one of the best running backs in the country as well. It's just like, I feel like that's all they got. At quarterback and running back. I know they've been passing the ball pretty well, but if you had to tell me to rank the Pac-12 teams, I would say UCLA is going to end up the 4th best team in the Pac-12. Because I just think, USC has a little more offensive versatility than them. I feel like their defenses are on the same level. Oregon and Utah are just complete teams from both an offensive and defensive standpoint. I think that, Utah's already out of the playoff picture with 2 losses. Of USC, Oregon, and UCLA, I would give UCLA the least amount of chance to make a run to the playoff.
There you go.
Evan, who's your best team in the Pac?
Washington State.
No.
Washington State.
The Huskies. No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
we got some major problems. on
ASU.
We got some major problems. Again, I'd probably say Utah because, like Scott said, I feel like they're the best, most completed team. With Cameron Rising as their QB, that offense is really good. Their defense is they're kind of up and down, but usually they're all right. And I think, like you guys elaborated, that if you had to rank them, Utah, Oregon, UCLA, USC, I'd probably put Utah 1, USC and Oregon, I feel like could switch, but I'd probably put Oregon there and then USC and then UCLA because I feel like UCLA I think is bearing a loss here up in a couple weeks, but I'd have to agree Utah is the most complete team out of that 4 bunch that we all set upon.
Okay, so next part of the question, does any Pac-12 team have like a realistic shot at the playoffs still? And by realistic, I mean you give them like above like a 50% chance to get in.
I don't know about 50. 50's a little high.
Yeah,
Above 25.
I don't know.
Because UCLA is the only undefeated team, but I don't think any of us have the confidence that they will
No,
remain like that.
I think they'll lose a couple games.
Yeah, and while we all, or not all, but while a good chunk of us think Utah is the best team in the Pac-12, they're already sitting here with 2 losses.
Yeah, they're out of the
are
playoffs
out.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if a Pac-12 team is going to be in the playoff, I feel like it's going to be USC or Oregon, but they need some help. It's a lot like Oklahoma in 2019 where they went 12-1 and won the Big 12, but they needed like a Utah loss, they needed a Georgia loss, and they got so many dominoes had to fall and they got it. Like a conference championship is not going to be enough. They're going to need some help. But I think with the way the rest of their schedules look, Oregon still has to play UCLA. I think they'll win that game, but Oregon still has to play Utah as well. USC is through really the tough part of the schedule. They just have to deal with UCLA basically in a neutral site. I would say USC has the best chance to win out the rest of the way, but like I said, just winning the Pac-12 with 1 loss is not going to be enough with the kind of talent
They
and
need
teams
help.
we have at the top. Yeah, because if you look at it right now, that there's going to be an SEC team in Tennessee or Georgia that has 1 loss that doesn't play for a conference championship. That's going to be sitting there at the end of the season. The same thing will happen
I feel
with
like
Michigan or Ohio State.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a crowded race.
Yeah.
Okay, so next up, while we're talking about playoffs, is Alabama in trouble?
You're gonna have to start down there.
What does that mean?
I mean, I would like to go last.
Oh,
Okay,
no.
well, BP, take it away.
So what is Alabama rated right now? 6
Yep,
officially?
they flip flop.
6 officially. Yeah. Oh, they did a little switcheroo. I didn't notice that. But yeah, like Scott was saying earlier, I think it was Scott anyway. They played a very close game not too long ago against Texas A&M at home, and we alluded to it last time how A&M had a very, very solid chance to win that game. Just had a terrible play call at the end and couldn't pull it off.
That was terrible.
Yeah, it was an awful play call in that game. They have 2 tough road games coming up. They've got LSU on the road, which we've already said, tough place to play. And then Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a team that's clicking at the right time. It'll be tough for them to go into Oxford and get that win. So I think Alabama, and even this week with Mississippi State, I think Alabama could lose multiple games because they've got some coming up that, I don't know, based on the way they've been playing these last couple of weeks, it's been a little shaky.
Yeah.
Scott, what do you think? Are they in trouble?
I just lost my phone. Alabama, they got to get to the SEC championship game for sure, no doubt, because no 2-loss team has ever made the playoff. And with the way things are shaping up right now, there are going to be 1-loss teams in the race by the end of it, multiple, honestly. I don't think Alabama can afford another loss, in my opinion.
I do also think they're in trouble. Again, like you guys said earlier, their defense is very undisciplined. You said what? They're the most penalized team
They are.
Yeah.
in
In all college football.
the country? Oh, bye, Scott.
Oh, there you go. That's
But
the,
yeah.
that's the off camera. That's
Most-
the cues he hasn't picked up yet.
Most penalized team in the country doesn't really help you a whole lot while trying to win games. But yeah, their offense is still talented. Yes, they do lack wide receivers, but I still think their offense is still talented to score. But again, their defense is kind of sus, if I had to say it. And I do feel like they will still get to the. Actually, I don't know. I was gonna say they might get to the SEC championship game, but I don't know.
Wow.
That was a very devilish laugh.
But if they do, if they do, they are going to have a very tough game there that they can easily lose
Oh yeah.
against either team they play, which will get them to 2 losses, which they'd probably be out of the playoffs. So I do feel like
They would put him in.
you really okay.
What about
You can
Auburn?
talk about them in a second, but
Oh,
No, I bet we all were thinking that last year when Alabama was loads better than Auburn, and Auburn took it to 4 overtimes, right?
Okay, but that was at Auburn.
Auburn's
Weird stuff
Oh,
happens
I know
on
Auburn
the
stinks.
plains, bro.
It's a rivalry.
Weird
game.
stuff happens on the plains.
Weird
bro.
stuff happens
Yeah.
in rivalry games.
It's at Alabama.
I do think Alabama is in quite a bit of trouble coming up here.
Well,
I'm waiting for this.
Yeah.
Mr. SEC himself has
You
words
know,
on Alabama.
I'm happy that the refs are actually calling penalties against Alabama. Texas A&M game had happened last week. It happened. That's the reason they lost the game is because of penalties. Because that one pass interference call late that negated the interception.
Shout out pass interference.
Yeah, pass interference. I think Alabama's in trouble. I think that they don't have a down. We talked about this earlier. They don't have a downfield receiver to really, scare anybody. So you don't really have to play deep coverage, and then they can just throw underneath and get yards after the catch. You can play soft coverage against them and be okay. So shout out be okay. So
Good pull. All right.
um,
Tulsa reference. I just got that.
I said that I think Alabama is going to lose to Ole Miss. I said Tennessee was going to be good at the beginning of the season, and nobody will listen to me. So maybe they'll take a chance to listen to me that Alabama's in trouble right now. So a lot of people said last year was Alabama's rebuilding year, and they're going to be the team this year. And guess what? It hasn't happened. So
They are not the team.
roll nothing.
Roll D word.
Roll
time.
L. Roll with 2
Roll
capital
L.
L's.
That makes a W.
They only have one loss too.
Well,
Spent my dollar.
roll
Parked in
with,
holler needs mountain.
roll with 1 capital L then. How about that?
There you go.
There you
Then
go.
it just looks weird. It looks like you don't know.
You
It
know
looks like
what?
you're doing that meme
Whatever.
thing. It's the SpongeBob chicken meme where you're like, and it's like capital letter, lowercase, capital, lowercase. You know what I mean?
Yes, I know what you're talking
Yeah. Okay. There you go. That's what it looks
but
like.
I think Alabama's in trouble, and it feels nice to say that. So there you go. That's my
Uh-huh.
take.
It is nice.
So,
Dixieland delight ain't no delight anymore, is it? Just Dixieland.
After that laugh you had, I might have to sleep with one eye open tonight.
Nah, it's
Lock
fine.
the door.
so you got them losing to Ole Miss,
I do.
and one of your predictions earlier this year, like you mentioned, was Tennessee's was gonna be good.
That's right.
Big part of that was Hendon Hooker.
Mm-hmm.
Is Hendon Hooker now the Heisman favorite?
Favorite? I don't know, but you have to put him in the conversation. After
I
that
think he was
big win.
already.
He's
Who
top
do you think
two.
is
He's if
he
he's
a
not
shot?
one,
Yeah.
he's two.
I don't know, honestly.
Do you guys think he should be one?
Yeah,
Yes,
I think so.
for sure.
Yeah, for sure. He's
Sure.
if he yeah.
I think
Heisman's
it's
great
odds.
now, but I really don't pay attention to it as much. But I think that he's probably the Heisman favorite at this point. Well, do I think he's going to stay the Heisman favorite? No, but I think he will stay in the top 3 consistently. I mean, you can't not put him. I mean, he's really the reason why this team is where they are is because of his great play.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, after a big win against Alabama like that, of course he's going to be up there.
Yeah, in case you guys are wondering, betting odds wise, it's still CJ Stroud significantly at plus 110.
Wow.
Which
That's
is
almost
crazy.
even. Good lord.
Hendon Hooker is plus 425. Next is Caleb Williams at plus 850. Then Blake Corum, Scott's guy, at plus 1200. Bryce Young all the way down at plus 1800. The
I don't
injury
think he's
hurts.
going to, yeah.
Yeah,
Plus, he's had poor play,
yeah.
so
And
it hasn't helped him at all. I think they should have lost to Texas.
well, right. What we were saying, or I know what I was saying with Scott earlier. Like Bama should have 3 losses.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, no,
Which is
I'm-
crazy.
Yeah.
Tennessee A&M.
And Texas.
In Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're getting bailed out here.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think everyone's really focused on Tennessee's win. I think we have to give some credit to Bama because that's probably the hardest environment in football this year with how that crowd was.
Oh, it could have been a runaway too, and Bama
Yeah.
pulled it back.
Bama
pulled it
had
right
the
back in.
lead in
Yeah.
late.
Yeah.
Especially because I don't think Bryce Young was 100%. You know, him coming off that
I
injury.
don't know.
Probably.
He
Probably.
played amazing.
He played great, but
great.
he probably wasn't 100%. And then while while having 17 penalties to still
Yeah.
be in the position. I think
I think it's more what Alabama did wrong than what Tennessee did right, personally.
right.
Because Alabama had a lot of penalties and had a lot of mistakes.
So they're a weird team. You can say they should have won it. Like if we're gonna say they should have lost 2 already, you can say they should have won this one. You know, it's interesting. I'm trying to decide if they're really good or not. Good.
Alabama?
Yeah.
I don't think they're good. I think their defense is a little worse than I thought it was going to be, honestly. I mean, I thought Will Anderson, I thought he was going to win the Heisman, honestly, because I thought he was going to have a great year, and everybody's figured out how to play him. And once somebody figures out how to play him, you're going to watch that film, and everybody's going to know how to play him. So, I mean, their defense gave up that many points. I mean, that's unheard of.
Most points since what?
Since 1907.
Cumberland.
That's
Cumberland
crazy.
College.
1907, there wasn't even a forward pass in the game.
1907 Cumberland College. Fun fact: the most points ever scored against Alabama is what team?
Is it Swanee?
No.
I thought it was.
No.
Who?
Vandy. 59 points.
Wow.
What year?
Yeah, what year was that?
Before
Before Nick
like
Saban.
before during Nick
Before
Saban's tenure?
Saban?
Before Nick Saban.
Before Nick Saban, yeah, like before World War One.
No.
Yeah, what was
I don't know. No, I'm talking about like before he was the coach at Alabama, not before he was born.
When did they score? When did Vandy score 59 on Alabama?
I don't remember when it was.
Stat guy.
Maybe in like 2000.
Stat guy's on it. He's the
Hey,
captain.
stop going in incognito mode and check out Vandy versus Alabama all-time games.
Yeah, you know what he's been doing.
All right, let's keep on topic, VP.
Wow, single me out.
While Ethan is looking that up, we'll get into our underdog picks. Two people had correct underdog picks last week. I had Michigan State plus 240, which brings my total to 4.6, which is only good enough for second place because of a new
Campero.
first place leader.
What were the odds, by the way, for that?
Caleb Campero picked Stanford at plus 530.
Oh,
Wow.
So he jumps up into the lead with 5.3 points.
mine too.
okay.
And Evan got it.
He said
only had 2.
Oh, right. No, that's right. I thought you're right. I was off. Good job, Evan. Evan got Kentucky plus 150. So nobody is scoreless now.
Sorry, I got tongue stuck in my head.
But Cooper is in last place. Wait, no, Evan's last place.
Yeah, I'm in
But
last place.
Cooper's second. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Evans threw me off because I forgot Kentucky won.
Womp,
That threw me
womp,
off. That's
womp.
my
I don't
bad.
care if I get last place. I'm just here so I won't get fined.
A great quote.
I'm here for the clicks.
So is everybody's
The verbal.
is
So there you go.
everybody? Does everybody have an underdog?
I do.
I do.
I've got
I
mine
might
ready.
have to still be looking so good on me last.
Plus
Cooper,
one.
Cooper, go ahead.
Hey, it's Mr. Ethan Kaplan.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my underdog pick for this week. Plus 115. I know it's really short odds, and it's kind of Lemicky, but I really liked it.
Kind of what?
Lemicky.
Mickey?
Plus 115, Ole Miss against LSU.
Good pick.
Next.
Do you want to go or you want me to go?
Can I
You
can I
pick. It's
quickly-
you're
can I-
leading the
can I-
poke. Oh yeah.
Can I quickly jump in here? Cooper, I can't find anything on Vanderbilt, but I
It was
can
a
find
gr-
on
there was-
Swanee.
Yeah, I know Swanee was on there, but Vandy was the most. It was on the graphic. It was
Which graphs?
it was on TV.
I thought they said Swanee was the most.
Maybe it was. I thought it was
The
Vandy.
52,
I don't. You know what?
the 52 points allowed by Alabama is
No,
the
I
most
thought-
Alabama has given up in any game since 1907 against Swanee.
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 Thank you.
Apologize.
I thought it was
points according to
59.
ESPN's Chris Lowe via ESPN Stats and Info. Similarly, Tennessee's 52 points are the most against Nick Saban coached football teams since September of 1996.
And you know ESPN stats.
When Nebraska put up 55 points on Saban's Michigan State Spartans per Ross Dillinger.
I thought
Wow,
it was
that was
59.
so
Sorry.
uncalled for.
Sorry.
Okay.
Next. My apologies. Horrendous.
Scott, just to give you a moment to catch up.
I heard you.
Do you underdog pick?
Underdog pick.
Okay. Do you have yours?
I think I do. I'm gonna go with SMU at home against Cincinnati plus 140.
Plus 140. Okay.
Not crazy. Cincinnati's only favored by 3.5, but SMU is not an easy place to play. Tanner Mordecai's a really good quarterback. This is Cincinnati's first real test since Arkansas in week 1. I'll take the Mustangs.
Your show here. You pick.
Okay. I have. It's a little ironic. I have the BP's team. Oklahoma State at home against the Longhorns. I think they bounce back. I like them being at home. I like picking home underdogs.
Tonight I bounce back.
They're plus 195, I believe. I can verify that. But yeah, so
That's
I got.
fantastic.
Thank you.
I'm glad I let you go first.
Last night took an L tonight.
That's
I really
fantastic.
hope it works out for me.
That's fantastic. I hope it does too.
Oh, plus 190.
E-Rod, who you
plus
taking?
Yeah, plus 190.
I hope you get your points.
Last night took an L, but tonight I bounce back.
I'm going with the team spirit. I'm going with ASU over Stanford.
Oh boy.
Stanford's own foreign conference play, even though ASU's not better with a 1-2 record, but I'm going with the team spirit here, and I'm taking ASU at plus 122 against Stanford.
L.
You want them to take it?
odds than yours.
You want them to
Spin
take it?
my
Hey,
dollar.
he's on
You
ESPN.
want
He's
them
not
to
on
verify it?
DraftKings.
Oh, I can verify it. I can verify it. While I verify it, BP can
You
go.
want ASU to take it?
Hey, guess what? What team?
It's plus 120 on DraftKings.
What team did I pick last week?
120.
You guys got it down there somewhere. I know you got that down there.
You
picked
picked
No,
Kansas.
Yeah.
I picked Kansas.
Yeah.
Kansas
Yeah.
plus 255 against Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Did I not pick Florida International?
No.
that was 2
the week
weeks
before.
It was the week before. Well, that kind of ruined my own segue there. But anyway, Florida International ride the train against Charlotte. 1-6 Charlotte, might I add. Let's go to the DraftKings. Type in a little Florida International. It's a lot. I'll just say that it put me in first if they happen to pull that one off. On ESPN it's plus 430.
I can check what it is.
Charlotte, I've been very hard on Charlotte all year because they only have one win.
Yeah.
I mean, both teams are winless in conference, but
Plus 440.
plus 440, even better. I love that. Let's go with FIU. Getting it done this week. The 14.5-point underdogs. Give me the Golden Panthers.
I respect it.
Thank you.
And I think BP is gonna like our first pick'em game.
Uh-oh.
Wow, right off
We're
the
going.
shoot.
Yeah, we're just gonna jump right into pick'em. Standings are pretty similar. BP has actually climbed into a. I think the exact percentage you are barely above. You guys are both 63%, but when I did the math earlier, you're like
Fourth.
0.0 something.
Is this for
percent
fourth
above.
or-
This is for
I
third.
think Caleb is 6.63 repeating.
And then BP's was like.
BP's was like, I gotta do it right now.
Yeah, I saw what you had it. I saw.
In
it.
this
I saw
take
BP
command.
was above.
In this percentage race, I'm like Usain Bolt. I was at the start line. Y'all were already a mile ahead, and I'm back. I'm caught up.
No, correction.
Started from the
BP
bottom.
is
Now
six-
you're here, BP.
Is 0.633 repeating.
And Caleb was like 6.
Caleb is
Was like
3 divided by 84
Sorry.
with 63 flat. So you are ahead.
Yeah.
Started from the
You
bottom,
started
now
from
we're
the
third.
bottom.
Now we're
Now
third.
you're here, yeah.
Started from the
Now
bottom.
we're
Now we're third.
Now we're third. So yes. So
Let's go.
BP's third. Cooper's starting to close the gap on me in first.
Uh-oh.
And Having, I'm sorry,
I'm back in last place.
you're in last.
Uh-oh.
But it's close.
You stink.
You are 50 and 34. Caleb's 53 and 31.
Alright, here we go.
So you have a chance. You can come.
So
back.
he's only one game down, huh?
He's 3.
2.
2 games. I don't have a
Evan from Caleb
Oh, Evan from Caleb.
is 3. It's 3.
Yes.
Why doesn't Ethan make any picks like the bear?
Oh.
Oh, well, if Ethan can come up with, Ethan can make,
These ones at a 12.
If you can come up with some spread,
or
picks.
if you pick like a lock. You can pick
There
a
you
lock.
go. Milk and cookies.
Milk and cookies, we like that. So we can let. We'll
His
have
won't
new
count.
makers at the end. So
That's
it's
his
fine.
no cap, no kids lock of the week.
Oh, I like that one.
So pick 'em. First game, BP. I think you're gonna like this one. A little small school action. UAB at Western Kentucky.
Oh, love me some small school action. Here
So
we
I'll
go.
let you go first with this one.
I thought you were going to say Oklahoma State for a minute. I'm like, that's a little early for it.
No,
You know, here's the thing. UAB, they reinstated their football program a couple years ago, and they've had success. They've had success in the past couple of years. Western Kentucky, you know, they had current Patriot QB Bailey Zappi just throwing the pigskin all over the yard. It's a close game. It's only 1.5 point spread for the Hilltoppers, but I think the Blazers win this one. I got UAB.
Ooh. All right.
Scotty, what do you got?
I don't know too much about either of these teams. Western Kentucky's home. I'm a Patriots fan. Bailey Zappi's been pretty good for us. Western Kentucky.
I also don't know like anything about these two teams.
Uh-oh,
I just
this
go
is-
with
What are we
Could be,
doing?
could
What
be
are we
the
doing here,
coin
boys?
toss of the week.
What are we doing here, boys?
Oh, is this the
Coin toss?
coin toss
Coin
game?
toss
already.
Already? He's already
Wow.
busting it out. First game.
No, he's
All
gonna
right.
save it.
Get a couple
Save
group
it.
of fives
Who's
in
the
there
whole
and get flustered.
Western
Western
Kentucky.
Okay, we'll say Western Kentucky's heads, UAB's tails.
All right, here we go.
I like the group of fives.
Heads or tails? It's heads. All right, I'm taking Western Kentucky.
I also agree
On my
because Western Kentucky likes to throw the ball. I know you like to throw the
Love
ball.
the football.
How about Western Kentucky beating FIU 73 to nothing?
Oh, that was fantastic. I love that.
73
That was
to nothing.
fantastic. But FIU is also absolutely
Yes, but
awesome.
73 to nothing. You like points.
I love
73 is
points.
a lot.
73
I'm going
nothing's not even that bad, honestly.
slinging the ball around.
What's not
It's like,
that
oh, he's because
bad?
he likes Oklahoma 8-man where they score like 150 points a game.
Yeah, they do. They one game last week was like 112 to 90, and I was like, that's awesome.
I'm going Western Kentucky because they like to sling the ball around. UAB's defense is a little suspect, especially in the secondary. So I think that Western Kentucky's going to exploit that.
Their defense is
And-
better than Western Kentucky's.
Yes, I know, but they're both not very good either way. But I think the secondary for UAB is a little bit more shaky, and I think the fact that Western Kentucky likes to throw the ball, game on.
Yeah, give me Western Kentucky. I know their quarterback this year. I've just been seeing the numbers. I'm blanking on the name. He's been putting up numbers for them. I was gonna bring up the 73-0, especially since BP is a big FIU guy.
Yeah, big FIU guy.
Big FIU
Even
guy.
though they absolutely stink.
Got a buddy going to Western Kentucky, so I'm gonna rock with Western Kentucky. It's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah, it'll be a lot.
Fun one on Conference USA on Friday night.
What time is that game?
5 Mountain tomorrow.
There we
Oh, tomorrow.
Yeah,
Tomorrow,
Friday night
tomorrow.
lights.
Dang it.
You know who else plays tomorrow at 4:30? But we didn't get picked
Oklahoma
because it's
State.
an awful game. Tulsa and Temple at the Eagles Stadium.
Is
Tulsa's
Tulsa
terrible.
ever gonna get
But shameless Tulsa plug. Give me
I'll
the
throw
Golden
it in
Hurricane.
Next up, we got Kansas at Baylor. Well, Baylor has started off hot this year. They've cooled off. Kansas a little bit vice versa, although they've been hit with the injury bug. Mr. Big 12, we'll go back down to you to start this one.
I need to see the official injury report here. Jalen Daniels, what's the status?
Out.
He's out for like
Out?
a while, isn't he?
Oh, then
OUT.
shoot.
Yeah.
Give me and Blake Shapen also out.
TBD. I don't know.
Whew. That's tough. I think Baylor. I think Baylor wins. McLean Stadium, early afternoon games because that's what a lot of people like to call 11 a.m. in Waco, Texas. I'm going with Baylor. I think McLean Stadium's built for early afternoons.
Well, that's a morning game, and I don't believe Kansas is going to have their Wheaties for breakfast, unfortunately. Jalen Daniels still hurt. We're in Waco. Sick of Bears.
I don't think he's officially been ruled out.
Who?
I looked it up, Jalen Daniels.
This is going to be like Devin Leary.
What's his
from last
status though?
week.
What have they been saying?
He did
Yeah,
not.
that screwed me.
He has not practiced this week. So
He's
he's not
not
practiced at all.
He's
My
not.
underdog would have hit if that
Which
happened.
I feel like that's.
He ain't playing.
Yeah, I'm assuming he's not gonna play, which is a big hit to the Jayhawks. So give me the Baylor Bears as well.
I'm also going with the Baylor Bears.
I want to be different. Give me Kansas.
Oh.
You just gave yourself a loss.
We'll see. We'll see. Anything can happen in Waco. It's wacky.
Wacky Waco.
Wacky Waco. So, Next up, we're heading to the farm for some good old Pac-12 football. The Arizona
farm.
State Sun Devils at Stanford.
The farm
The farm.
for Stanford. I wouldn't consider Palo Alto the farm.
Well, that's what they call it.
But if you want to call it the farm, then I'll call it the farm.
I bet you guys have farms back home.
Yeah, I live
No,
in.
they got nothing.
I live in a city with
Just
700.
tumbleweeds.
I live in a city metro area who has over 800,000 people.
The
So yeah, there's no farms there.
Metroplex.
But anyway, give me ASU. I like ASU to win this one. Emory Jones expected to be back, I believe, named the starter.
He's starting.
He'll be back. I think he will. I think he's going to step up his game, especially with how Trent Bourget played in relief last week. And ASU had a bye week. I know Stanford just knocked off Notre Dame, very overrated Notre Dame team. But give me ASU. I like them on the road.
Scott? ASU or Stanford?
Stanford did just win a pretty notable game against Notre Dame. However, ASU also just won a pretty notable game against Washington. I've paid attention to both teams so far this year. Tanner McKee's a good quarterback. He just doesn't have a lot of help. I think Emory Jones has a little bit more weapons at his disposal, especially ex-Valaday. I think if ASU can take Washington, they can take Stanford. So I'm going to go with the Sun Devils.
I took them in my underdog pick. I'm not going to change it. I'm going with the school spirit. Give me ASU. Fork them. Put them up. Fork them. Fork them.
That seems
Fork
biased.
them. Fork them.
We picked ASU. Why are
Fork 'em.
you putting the forks in
Fork
our
'em.
face? Scott and I both picked ASU.
ASU's going in and winning.
All right.
Well, you're gonna have to fork them to me because I'm picking Stanford.
Oh, yeah, put the forks that way.
For
Scott
your
and I
point,
picked
ex
ASU.
Valde has
Fork 'em.
been limited in practice this week, so I'm a little bit
Oh, really?
concerned about that. I'm a little bit concerned about that because I feel like if we don't have X 100%, then we're not going to be able to play full soft on the offense. I think it'll be a close game, but I'm going with the trees.
If I pick ASU, they're gonna lose, and if I pick Stanford, ASU's gonna win. Just because ASU.
Pick Stanford then.
ASU always goes against me.
Pick Stanford.
One time I didn't pick them was Washington. And
Pick Sac State. Pick right in the middle.
You go right in the middle. I gotta pick ASU though.
Uh-oh.
Because I do think they're gonna win. Like that's who I think is gonna win. I'm riding with Coach Iguano. I think Emory Jones will have his best game yet with that pressure behind him. You know, I think hopefully it brings out the best in him, knowing his spot isn't guaranteed anymore.
Yeah.
For real.
So yeah, I got ASU. I think this will be a tough one. Hopefully a good competitive game.
I feel sorry for BP gonna have to watch a game with me.
Which game?
The ASU game. Because I'm just
ASU
gonna be
game?
screaming.
I can't even imagine watching that Georgia-Missouri game with you. I'm glad I was in Los
I
Angeles.
threw my water bottle at the wall.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know our room would turn into a war zone.
Well, you already know what's gonna happen. I'm
Gone
just
for
gonna
2
scream,
days.
I'm just gonna scream tackle him.
Tackle him the whole
for
game.
60 minutes. Yep.
Yeah, this is the first time I'm actually watching an ASU road game with you this year because I've been in
Yeah.
Stillwater and I've been
Yeah.
in Los Angeles. So
Yeah, prepare.
be
Better keep your
prepared.
head on a swivel.
I'm ready.
All right, next Cincinnati at SMU. I know
Ah.
this was Scott's underdog pick.
Yep, so we'll get me out of the way. I gave my rationale earlier, Mustangs.
Scott is sticking with the Stangs.
I'll also take the Mustangs. I like their offense. I like throwing the ball.
No, you don't.
Hey, that's my offense coordinator's problem. Throw the ball. It's an early game. I think the real factor is going to be just the weather. I think it'll be a little warmer than Cincinnati would like during this time. It's not going to be like 30 degrees like it will be in Ohio right now. It's going to be like mid-60s. So I'm going to go with SMU. Their defense is a little bit shaky. But I think their offense can definitely keep them in games.
They're running the OU Reject Club over there in Dallas, Texas. They got Tanner Mordecai at quarterback, Grant Calcaterra at tight end. You look at Cincinnati's last 5. I mean, they've won all 5, but beating South Florida by 4. That's not impressive.
That's embarrassing.
Going to Tulsa and only beating them by 10. I'm from there. That's embarrassing. They beat Indiana by a couple scores.
They were
but
losing it at one point in that game.
the Tulsa one or the Indiana?
No, the Indiana game.
Oh, the Indiana one?
Yeah.
And then look at the other games. Miami, Ohio, which hasn't been good since Big Ben was there.
Don't.
I'm just.
You're gonna say Kennesaw State.
And Kennesaw State is just. I mean, congrats on them moving up to the FBS, but
They're good in FCS.
they're good in FCS standards. So give me SMU.
There you
Give me SMU. I'm
E-Rod.
going with y'all.
I'm gonna be like Preco and I'm gonna be different. Give me the Bearcats.
Boo.
Good thing you're going with them because I'm going with SMU.
call.
I've been refusing to rank Cincinnati in my poll because I don't think they're a top 25 team in the country.
Yeah.
Fraudulent.
I don't think they're good.
I just picked them because I forgot who else I was gonna pick.
Yeah, and to be honest, I really don't know if SMU's good or not. This is more of a I'm fading Cincinnati type deal. So next up, Syracuse travels to Clemson. Will this be undefeated Cuse? The end of undefeated Cuse for them?
Yes, the Orange will get swashed. I don't even think. I mean, Syracuse's win last week. I don't think it was super impressive because Devin Lear was out. I think they would have lost that game if Devin Lear was playing. I made the pick. I made the pick because I thought Devin Lear was gonna play.
Right, I think we all did.
It was also my underdog pick, and I'm pretty sure it was my lock of the week too. I was full soft on NC State, and then that didn't turn out too well. But I'm picking Clemson. I think their offense is really starting to turn it on. I think they're starting to play more complete. Hard place to play even during the day, so give me the Tigers because half my friends would kill me if I said otherwise.
Oh man.
I'm going to agree with Coop. I think that Syracuse, they would not have won that NC State game should Devin Leary have played. I feel like other than NC State, they played a rather soft schedule. This Clemson team, DJ Uyunglele, has completely turned it around, completely flipped a lot of people's perspectives on him. He's showing us the type of recruit he was, how good of a quarterback he is. Will Shipley's having a good year as a running back. Brian Breesy on the defensive line. Clemson's defense starting to figure out that chemistry. Clemson by $1 million.
Yeah.
It's a hefty score.
I'm also gonna have to go with Clemson, like Scott and Cooper said. They have been really impressive here in the couple weeks they've been playing, and I don't think that's gonna go anywhere anytime soon. The chemistry is there. They're playing great football, so give me Clemson Tigers.
Clemson as well, not much going on for the Qs. I don't think they played way too close, with the exception of Wagner in their last couple of games against some very mediocre opponents, especially in NC State without Devin Leary. So yeah, give me Clemson by quite a bit.
I've been riding with Clemson all year, even when they started slow. Even when BP took every team he could against them. So
Who, Clemson?
yeah.
Oh yeah, I probably did.
Yeah, so I'm riding with Clemson again. I think this is our first sweep of the night. Next up, Ole Miss at LSU.
Oh, go loud. I'm going last, please.
Okay, Coop's going last.
LSU, tough environment. But here's the thing. Ole Miss is a pretty good team. 7-0. And they've looked pretty good in some of their most recent games. Exception of the Tulsa one there because they only beat them by 8. And that's really embarrassing to only beat that team by 8. I'm going with Ole Miss in this one. I know I would hope Coop. Did you pick Ole Miss as your underdog?
I don't know. I haven't gone yet.
For your underdog, you still have.
Oh, my underdog. Sorry.
You did?
Yes.
I was like, okay, we just
Sorry.
2 seconds
Sorry.
ago, but anyway.
Sorry.
But yeah, I'd
Sorry.
go. Well, I would say I'm agreeing with Coop. I go Ole Miss in this one on the road because they've played pretty well this year, and that offense very potent, very high powered, and
It's a big word.
I like that.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with Ole Miss. I've, again, been really impressed with what I've been seeing from their offense. It's very electric, and I feel like they're going to make some noise in Baton Rouge come this Saturday.
I've been one of Jackson Dart's biggest fans. I really like him as a quarterback. He's got a big arm. This Ole Miss offense with Zach Evans, Dontario Drummond, they can really move the ball in all facets, through the air, on the ground. Their defense has been a nice surprise, having held Will Levis down in Kentucky, although he was injured. But LSU is such a tough place to play. This is a game that is, it can go either way, in my opinion. But home field in the SEC does a lot. I'm gonna go with LSU.
Ooh.
I'm not a big believer in Ole Miss. I think a lot of the reasons they're undefeated is the schedule. Not that they're
Yes.
amazing. I mean, they're definitely a good team. But I don't think LSU's great either. I think if this was a night game, like we discussed earlier, different story. But I'm riding with Ole Miss.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's come that time for the lock of the week.
Oh.
And
Ouch.
oh, wait, hold on, never mind.
Lock
Scratch
and
that.
lock.
Scratch that. Time out.
Fight on.
I'm having a bad day.
Fight
That was
on.
my underdog story. Time out. Not
Your
lock of the
underdog
week.
story.
I'm
Fight on.
He's tired. Let's give him a break. It's
Underdog
late.
pick.
It's late.
all right.
Yeah, it's about his bedtime.
It's been a long week. Not the lock of the week. Is my Ole Miss is my underdog. I'm picking Ole Miss.
There we go.
It's not a night game at LSU. It's completely different during the day. So they're not going to be boozed up as much as they would be at night.
Well, we're gonna go with my underdog of the week for the next game, Texas at Oklahoma State. I love Texas. I love Quinn Ewers. But I think Oklahoma State, coming off of a loss at home, yeah. So I got I got them at home.
I just thought of something so funny. So we're picking Oklahoma State game. This is my lock of the week right here. Lock emoji.
He's gonna say
Right
Texas.
here.
He's gonna say
Lock
Texas
of the week.
minus 6.5.
No, Oklahoma State +6.
Oh wow, he said that because I said Texas.
No, I told you I was picking
What
Oklahoma
was all
State
that
earlier.
crap you were saying about Taylor Swift releasing a new album, Texas State? I'm going with
Yeah, but
Texas.
that doesn't mean I did not say I was picking Texas. I said I was picking Oklahoma State. Lock of the week, lock it in, flash the Oklahoma State logo,
Do
flash
it.
the picture of BP when he's a young kid with a baseball helmet and the Oklahoma State.
Do it,
game.
yeah, do it.
Right here.
Do it, the
Right
trilogy.
here. Right here. I'm picking Oklahoma State +6. They're at home. They're at the Boone Pickens Stadium. Tough place to play.
A real football
Giant
stadium for you in
scoreboard.
Tempe.
I think Texas is good, but I mean, it's tough to play at Oklahoma State. You know, the paddle people,
Okay.
you know, it doesn't really do much, but it just is cool. So,
It used
Oklahoma
to.
State +6.
You know what changed the impact of the paddle people? You might like this little local tie. The Savannah State Tigers getting boat raced 84-0. They complained to our athletic director. We're like, it's too loud, so now we can't do it during the play. You got to go bam, bam before the play, and then when they get ready to snap the ball, can't do the paddles anymore. But it used to be very.
I know somebody that plays for Savannah State, the long snapper.
Yeah, probably the backup punter who didn't
No,
even
it's
play.
the long. He
Was it the long
plays.
snapper? Was it the
No.
long snapper?
No, right now he plays
What do you mean?
for Savannah State.
The game was in 2012.
No, I
I'm
know
talking
he-
about right
He's
now.
talking about his friend.
Right now.
Oh, your friend plays for Savannah State.
Yes.
Okay. But what does that have to do with
You were just talking about Savannah State.
I was, because that was the game that ended the paddle people. I
Yes,
don't know
but
what,
I'm just
I
saying,
don't know what
I
the
know
2012 team has to do with
No, I
this.
said I know someone that plays for Savannah State.
He's just trying to hype up his guy. Come
There you go. There you go.
Milk and cookies, bro. Maybe I
Milk
should
and
take
cookies.
Texas now.
Oh,
I'm not going to though.
I was like, do it.
Because not only do I want Oklahoma State, but I want to see that picture on the screen right here.
Yeah, put me in the OK State baseball uniform.
And
for
play the
clicks.
music. The music.
Dun, 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 dun,
The music.
dun.
But I've got the music. I've got it. Keep going. Keep going. I'll send it. I'll send it to you guys.
So,
Remember the pop smoke?
Oh, the pop.
Yeah. The Pop Smoke one.
Oh.
so we got Texas, very electric offense, even though they did have a tough matchup against Iowa State, even though they still came out with the win.
Hold on, yeah. All that matters.
A lot of people think that this team.
Does it have the my name
Yeah,
is
that
Brendon
one.
Paul?
No, I've got this one.
I think I got that saved in my phone. We're fine.
We
That was
have
my-
got. No, we got to play the video.
That
for
was my resting
I'm pretty
B word face.
I'm pretty sure I was the one who sent this to
Yeah, you were
everyone.
the initial-
Everyone found it. Everyone like
Sam made that.
Oh, hey, by the way,
No,
I think
Ethan
I
made
was
that.
the one who took the picture that even created that, so let's just
I'll
get
have
that going.
My name is
You're
Brendon.
welcome. Yeah, my name's Brendon Paul. That is my name. That's my resting B word face. That's when I'm getting
Okay,
paid.
copyrighted. Okay.
Hey, I made $125 that night, so it was electric.
All right, here we go.
All right, Ev.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, Texas very electric offensive team, even though they had a very close game against Iowa State, but still pull off the win. A lot of people think this team would be number one if Quinn Ewers kept playing. But then we got a very pissed off Oklahoma State team. And that is why, BP,
You're picking Texas.
I'm going to go with Oklahoma State at home to beat the Sooners. I think OSU is going to be really
To beat
pissed
the
off.
who?
Did you say the
Oh, did I say the
Sooners?
Sooners? I meant
You
the
said the Sooners.
He said
the
Sooners, bro.
I meant the Longhorns.
All right.
I think it's going to be a very pissed off OSU team, and they're going to come.
Ohio State.
No, the better OSU, Oklahoma State.
Whoa,
I didn't tell him to say that. I didn't tell him to say that.
Pam
Alright.
$175.
Not in football terms, but in like which team I like better.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
It's like
So
you like Washington.
this is the toughest game of the week for me to pick, honestly, because I think since the beginning of the season, since the Alabama game, I thought that Texas is a very good team, among the best in the country, with Quinn Ewers healthy. Quinn Ewers, Bijan Robinson, Xavier Worthy as a quarterback, running back, wide receiver trio you don't see very often. Oklahoma State's home. Mike Gundy's a great coach. Spencer Sanders has been good up until the second half of last week when they lost that game to TCU.
Valid.
A game they had a handle on.
Valid.
I think that's going to carry over just a little too much.
Carry on my wayward son.
Look more.
Ouch.
Who invited this guy, by the way? Who invited this guy over here picking Texas? Let's see. Do I even need to explain this?
No,
pick
we
here?
already named it.
Give me the Pokes. Of course, we gotta ride the wave. And then insert E-Rods. Of course! Oh, of course! Who would have thought it?
Alright, here we go. So next game, I can't open
Yeah.
my Whoppers over here.
That's
But
embarrassing.
next game is, just so pre-go can vote. Memphis at Tulane. What a barn burner this one will be for sure.
I got Tulane.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep, I got them. That's what I got. They're winning the game and scoring more points.
They're favorites too.
I'm going to go with Memphis only because Tulane will think that they're amazing because they're ranked, and I feel like they're going to slip up. They're going to get overhyped. So I'm picking Memphis. E-Rod?
I think I'm also going to take Memphis, actually.
Good call.
I think Tulane's all that.
Wow.
Yeah, Scott, it's your turn. I gotta spit this out.
What game are we picking again?
You're not fair.
Memphis
Memphis
at
what?
Tulane. Memphis at Tulane.
One team's ranked, one team's not. Tulane.
BP?
BP, was that your first time trying a Whopper or what?
No, it's candy corn. Disgusting.
What's the pick?
I'm not a nicotine addict. I don't eat candy corn on the regular.
What does that have to do with nicotine?
That's who eats candy corn. But anyway, that's beside the point.
Pick, BB.
That's beside the point. Give me Tulane.
Cool.
All right.
Uh-oh.
Next, Minnesota at Penn State. I know it's the Penn State whiteout.
Yeah.
I know I'm gonna look very stupid.
You're picking Gophers.
I am just because I know everybody else is gonna pick Penn State, and I like Minnesota. It's only a 4-point spread. I thought I could be wrong.
4.5.
4.5.
Yeah.
Okay, I was. Okay, yeah.
Penn State whiteout, Penn State.
Yeah.
He
You
said
don't-
Penn State too.
You don't beat Penn State with their whiteout game. I'm going Penn State.
I really liked Minnesota until they lost to Illinois. I thought they were the clear favorites in the Big Ten West. Mo Ibrahim was one of the best running backs in the country, still is, but I don't know, losing to Illinois leaves a sour taste in my mouth. Even though Penn State didn't look good against Michigan, they're back home. It's a rebound game. I'll go Nittany Lions.
Penn State, just because of the whiteout.
That's
There's
fair.
no way they're losing. No way.
That's fair.
Bum 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 bum.
Mississippi State at Bama.
Oh, that's easy. Alabama.
Alabama for me too. They're gonna be angry. They're gonna be upset.
No, not caps lock over there. I see that.
They're gonna be angry. They're gonna commit 20 penalties this week, and that's how you're gonna take.
Bama's
them.
going. Bama's
You think they're gonna lose?
You picking
I'll go
Mississippi
last.
State?
Oh,
no!
Scott, who
Scott.
you got?
You got Bama?
This is pretty easy for me, dude. I mean, Mississippi State. Will Rogers is a great quarterback. But they just lost one of their own, a tragic accident, passed away. I don't know how much focus is really going to be on the field for them, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Alabama.
BP.
Alabama.
All right.
Dixieland delight.
Kansas State at TCU. I know BP. This is probably BP's game of the week. Well,
This
besides
is
Oklahoma State.
besides the OK State. This is the game.
Carry
of
on
the
our
week, in my
wayward
opinion.
son.
Yeah, Kansas. There you go. Good
There you
reference.
go. Go ahead.
I got Kansas State. I don't like picking them to go on the road, but I think TCU they're coming off of a huge win, so I think they're gonna have a little letdown spot. Kansas State is very good.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I want to take Kansas State, but they're not at home. It's a night game at TCU. Night games are just tough.
Also, you said last
the
week
tractor
that the environment was awful.
Yeah, but that was day game. It wasn't even sold out.
No, I agree. It was awful.
But when you get all day to kind of get boozed up, different story.
Koopy's a big believer that alcohol affects games.
It does.
It does, bro.
It does.
I'll back him up on that.
Come to an SEC game.
Steve
and
Martin.
firsthand
I
what
understand.
happens. I'm taking TCU. The tractor will be alive at night. TCU.
I'm also going to take TCU. The offense is going to keep rolling.
No way.
No way! Who could have guessed?
I'm taking the Horned Frogs.
This is the epitome of a hangover game for me. TCU got their big win that they probably shouldn't have gotten. Now they're coming back against Deuce Vaughn, one of the best running backs in the country. K-State's well coached. Kansas State.
Nice pick, as Lee Corso would say.
Good pick.
All these people. I have a bunch
Not
of.
so fast.
No, I'm not saying not so fast. I have a bunch of people who go to TCU. They were out there strutting their stuff last week. They don't know jack squat about football, and they're like, "How'd you like that game?" Yeah, you probably didn't even know what was going on. You probably thought like this was soccer or something. But yeah, bunch of people. They're
No
all
offense
fired
to
up.
soccer, by the
No,
way.
yeah, no offense to soccer. I'm just saying that people I know that go to TCU don't know squat about football, and they're thinking they do.
Texas Christian University wasn't even sold out for a big
Wasn't
game.
even sold out for a top 15 game. Like, what are we doing here? So they're all fired up. As Scott was saying, they're all fired up. They got their big win. They're going to be hungover. Phillip Brooks and Adrian Martinez and Deuce Vaughn and Malik Knowles are going to run over them. Give me the K-State Wildcats.
I love the pick. Finally, our game of the week.
Dun, 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 dun.
What is the other game of the week?
UCLA at Oregon.
Oh.
This is huge Pac-12 implications. UCLA is the last unbeaten in the conference. Oregon hasn't lost since their Week 1 performance to Georgia. It's at Oregon. Tough place to play.
Yeah.
I got Oregon at home. To be honest, that's kind of the sole reason I'm giving them the edges. I think they're very, very good at home. Their defense is elite. Bo Nix is
Not elite.
Not elite, yeah.
you're right.
Short way of saying it. But I think they manage. UCLA can give them a fight. I love DTR. He's very fun to watch, but I got Oregon.
I'm going Oregon. Let me tell you, Dan Lanning is not going to let DTR run on him. It's just not going to happen. He's been studying the film for probably the last 2 weeks. It ain't happening. You know, DTR is not going to run for over 100 yards. He's not going to let him run, period. It's just not going to happen. I'm taking Oregon. I think Bo Nix will have a decent game. I think the offense will be, or excuse me, the defense will be the reason that they win this game against University of California, Los Angeles.
Yeah. I'm also going Oregon. Like Rico said, the sole reason I'm kind of picking Oregon is because they're at Autzen Stadium. And I feel like that Oregon defense is going to give DTR and company a lot of troubles in this game. So I'm going with the Oregon Ducks at home.
This is a close game for me. It's a very good game. UCLA has a dynamic quarterback in DTR. Oregon has a dynamic quarterback in Bo Nix. I think it's going to come down to Oregon's defense is better, but I think it's ultimately going to come down to coaching. And at the end of the day, I trust Dan Lanning more than I do with Chip Kelly. So I'm going to go with home field's going to help them a lot. I'll go with Oregon, keep their playoff hopes alive.
Yeah, give me Oregon. I like them as a more complete team in the conference. I know that UCLA guy that tweeted our thing that 1 week is going to be all over this if they win this one. But yeah, I got Oregon. Autzen Stadium, Eugene, the Nike capital of the United States is going to be all ready to rock, and they're going to bring it for a top 10 matchup.
That'd be a good game.
Yeah, it'll
We
be.
all
I think
picking
it'll be great.
Oregon.
Yeah.
Wow.
Put it on the bottom of the screen, Anthony, right here. See this right here? All Oregon. So if we lose them, we're screwed.
Have we had a game of the week sweep?
I don't know.
Probably
I think
Georgia
so.
versus Oregon.
No, Caleb picked Oregon.
No, I picked Oregon.
I thought Caleb did.
Oh yeah, we had that
I did.
bet. Yeah, we had
Really?
that bet. Yeah. Well, like I said, if Georgia beats or Oregon beats Georgia, I'll buy you lunch. But
Oh,
then
no,
you
you
said
didn't.
if Georgia beats Oregon, you wouldn't buy me lunch. And work out
Correct,
that
yeah.
we're beating by 46.
Yeah. Well, that wraps it up for the week. Unless anybody has any closing comments.
Cal plus 7.5.
There we go. Thank you for watching.
Oregon State minus 24.5.
Are they really that big?
Yeah.
They're playing Colorado.
Oh.
I was wrong.
Yep. So thank you for watching or listening, however you are
Streaming
enjoying the
services.
podcast, and we will see you next week.
Good night.